his teammate, at least for now. Kyrie Irving is in the news because of rumors that the Lakers would be interested in bringing Kyrie to LA with a reunion with LeBron James. But new Laker coach Darvin Ham is apparently good with the team he has. Here's what he had to say. Quote, "We love everyone on our roster, and until you're not on our roster, you're ours, and we're going to try to get better with the group that we have. That's just the bottom line of it. I don't know a player that's come through this league in my 26 years that hasn't had their name part of a trade rumor a time or two. But it is what it is. It's the nature of the beast of our business." Interesting. Well, when you look at this roster as it currently stands for the Los Angeles Lakers, not exactly blowing me away as I look up and down at this. We have to acknowledge the fact that, as it stands right now, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James, they return. They will be combined making $129.5 million, which is the most amongst any trio in the NBA. So now we bring back Wendy and Perk. And Wendy, I have a question for you. We all saw what happened at Summer League. Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, both in the building at the same time. But what is LeBron James' thought process with all of these trade rumors surrounding Russell Westbrook?
So LeBron absolutely wants the Lakers to improve their roster. I think that's natural. You wouldn't be surprised in anybody saying that. LeBron is interested in the possibility of playing with Kyrie Irving. Now, it's not that he has an undying desire to play with him again, but he realizes there's a limited number of players the Lakers can acquire, and Kyrie is far and away the best one. But I have been told that it isn't that LeBron is absolutely shoving the Lakers into that trade. He knows, the team knows where he stands. He certainly wants the roster to improve so he can get better, but he is not banging on the door. He just wants the Lakers to have the best chance to win as possible. So I think the Lakers are aware of that. They were aware of that last winter when they didn't make a trade at the trade deadline, and they are aware of it now, and we'll see how it develops. And it is also worth pointing out that LeBron is extension eligible beginning on August 4th. And so if the Lakers have not done a significant trade between now and August 4th, that might be a factor in what LeBron thinks about, but you can't really be sure until we get there, so we'll see.
Oh, I love it when we get to the part of the summer where we start discussing LeBron James's relationship with his team, and we are officially there. Perk, Westbrook has been rumored with the Pacers, rumors in a deal with the Nets. How does he deal with that psychologically? With Darvin Ham saying he's on the team, he's on the roster, we need to fit him in, but it seems like he's being rumored to be moved.
Well, you have to realize this, right? Russell Westbrook is a former MVP. Russell Westbrook is, in my eyes, is a top 30 greatest player of all time. Russell Westbrook is also a very prideful individual. And although he may not come out and say it publicly, I know Russell Westbrook. He's emotional. This is bothering him. And to be honest with you, Jacoby, we're talking about how much the Lakers are looking to search probably to get Kyrie Irving and trade Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, the feelings is mutual. He's out there as well trying to get out of L.A. Why would you want to stay somewhere that you're not wanted? And I don't blame Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is not going to change his game for anybody. Russell Westbrook is a guy that needs the ball in his hands to be successful. He's not a guy that's going to be able to change this late in his career to play off the ball. And it's not a knock on Russ. All it is that he just don't fit alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That's all it is.
Wendy, when Darvin Ham had the press conference, he was talking about how he was going to run with this team, and this is going to be the big three. I was convinced that they were going to try to give it a go. However, Perk just said it is mutual, that they both sort of want to make this work, not with each other. Has Russell Westbrook already played his last game as a Laker?
Not necessarily. I think Russell Westbrook is willing to give it a try. Darvin Ham is willing to give it a try. Do we honestly think that it's going to work? No. I mean, one of the things that Darvin Ham talked about in his discussion yesterday on NBA TV was that he wants Russell Westbrook to be a screen setter. Well, I had our stats folks look it up. Russell Westbrook played 78 games last year. You want to guess how many screens he set in 78 games? He set 57. 57 screens. Now look. That's maybe because the offense didn't call for it. I'm not saying he won't set a screen. He said he wants him to be a corner three-point shooter. Well, he was a 29% catch-and-shoot three-point shooter last year. Now, he did shoot okay in the corner. He shot 45% in the corner. So I'll bet Russ is working on setting screens. I'll bet he's in the gym working on those corner threes. But just because two sides want it to work doesn't mean that it will. But I do think that there is good faith between Darvin Ham and Russell Westbrook right now. Whether that means that he's going to be a Laker, that's a different conversation.
Perk, why you have that face
so
on?
you mean so you're telling me that Darvin Ham basically want Russell Westbrook to be a smaller PJ Tucker? That's what you're telling me right now. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's just not going to happen. Period.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.